Good afternoon. It's my honor and privilege to be here this afternoon with our girls and our gentlemen to share some information about their experience with Girls and Boys State. Our school had not participated for several years, but I was encouraged by Mr. Webb to get with some of our girls, and Alexis and Lillian were really excited to go, and I understand they had a wonderful time and they went forward in their leadership abilities. They are going to speak to our girls this year. They're really raring to go to encourage them to attend Girls Gate. We really thank the American Legion Post for sponsoring our young people so that we can promote this, all of this education for our kids. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Carrie Skurlock. I'm a counselor at Holy Cross School, and I'm so grateful that our two students, Julian and Jude, were able to attend Boys State by your generous sponsorship. I know this was a very formative experience for both of them in terms of just, confidence and leadership, but also helping them to really figure out what they want to pursue post-graduation as they are now seniors. And so I'm very excited to hear more about their experience. And as Ms. Susan said, to also have them encourage other students to participate in this opportunity as well. I don't know how long you guys have been providing this sponsorship for Holy Cross, but we're very grateful. It's not a common that
Maybe it's a battery.
It's not as common these days to have young people who want to pursue, being in the military, having discipline, learning about, how to be a really good citizen and pursue leadership. It takes a certain kind of, young individual, and so I'm very grateful for you guys, for the American Legion, for providing this environment to educate them. And then I'm also just so impressed by both the young women and young men here who took upon themselves to, take part in this opportunity, and I'm excited to see where they go from it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And you can just retire that. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
One thing I can say about good camcorder, I don't need that. So, ladies and gentlemen, and our students, project your voices. I'm going to start off with which lady would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
Okay, perfect.
I want to get a shot of you by yourself. And stand in front of the podium. It's better lighting. It's not as dramatic.
Sure.
Thank you. And there you go. Good. Thank you. All right.
All right. So it's lovely to be here with you all. I'm Lillian Coulon. I am a senior at Mount Carmel Academy, and I just want to kind of discuss how I got into Girls State and what I took from the program. So in about March, Ms. Hemel had emailed us about the program, finding some interest. I didn't know what it was at all. I'd never heard of it. But I did a small research, I searched some things up, and I realized this was a really great program, and it was kind of what I was interested in. It was about gauging civic education, fostering respect for your veterans, and I just thought that'd be an amazing experience. So I went ahead and signed up. It was at Southeastern for a week in June, the 8th to the 14th, and so then I just set my way up there in June, and suddenly I was there. It was extremely exciting. When you get there, they place you in a parish, which has 2 cities in it. So your cities are named after real Louisiana parishes, and your parishes are named after rivers in the state. So I was from a meat parish and from Ascension City. So then we got there and we started. I met all my friends. They're all amazing. The most interesting part to me that it wasn't just like New Orleans, Greater New Orleans, Southern Louisiana. the majority of them were from northwestern Louisiana because the program was previously in Natchitoches. So this was a really amazing program because I got to meet with some people that I really hadn't like conversed with before, and it was a lot of unique perspectives. Additionally, when I got there, we started straight into our city and parish elections. This was more of our local and parish elections, so you were kind of like picking your small roles of who you wanted to represent yourself in the state. So then I kind of considered doing mayor, I considered doing district attorney, but I ended up doing the Supreme Court justice. It was kind of a unique role to Girls State because there's a Louisiana Supreme Court, but these were based off of parishes, so I was able to represent my parish, and it was a pretty tough election. The wild part about it is that you didn't really know what was going on. Like prior to the program, you weren't given like this is what you need to be ready for on day one. So when I got there, all I knew was that maybe get an idea of like what kind of election you would want to run in, and then the elections would be the very next morning. So I was pretty nervous. I got to the election. I had a small speech written, but there were about 7 other girls from my parish who wanted to be Supreme Court Justice, and I was extremely nervous. So I got up there, I gave my speech, I just kind of did what I genuinely do and just like kind of smiled, kind of showed my personality a little bit, and then it started to get into runoffs and then finalists, and there was down to about 3 of us, and the girls were really amazing and passionate, and I realized I'd have some difficult competition, so I just kind of finished my speech, really showed more about myself, showed my local and state interests, and then I got the position, which was really exciting. Then we headed into legislative sessions within, like, past your city governments and past, like, all the elections you would do throughout the week. We had a separate, like, legislative session where we mocked Congress. So you were either randomly split into Senate or House, and I was fortunate to be in House, which I really, like, was excited for because there was, like, more buzz, more representation, and I was excited to kind of see, like, what Congress was like in its everyday life. Then, once again, we didn't really know what was going on, so I picked my committee. I did the environmental quality because I have previous experience with the Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana's Future Coastal Leader Program. I kind of did that and it kind of gauged my interest towards like coastal sciences. So I had a little bit of like knowledge on that, and I knew that we would be creating a bill on that theme. So I just walked in and I was like, okay, let's see what we're gonna do in this committee. And then they said, well, we have to have an election for the committee head first, or the committee chair. So I got in there, and I didn't even know what was going on once again. They kind of keep it discreet so that you don't get nervous before over like participate or anticipate it. So I once again just gave my qualifications, gave the speech, and then there were some other really talented girls who were engaged into scientific research and were really interested in the topic. So I was really nervous, but once again, I just kind of showed that genuine like spirit that I always have, and I got the position. So now I'm sitting in front of this classroom with about 15 other girls, and we have to come up with a piece of legislation to do with environmental quality. And I was so nervous. I did not know what I wanted to do it on. I kind of figured since I was like the committee chair that I had to come up with the idea. I had to be the leader. But I quickly learned that like all I had to do was listen to the idea of others. So I listened to one girl, she had a really great idea. I listened to another, and we started, all I had to do was keep the note taking and kind of just keep the ideas flowing, get the group chat made, get the Google document shared, and they were contributing, which is really important. So then we created our bill. The legislation that we proposed to Congress was called the Lorax bill, which is like, it's a pseudonym for like a movie called The Lorax where they're cutting down trees. So we created this like long like Louisiana order to restore agriculture. And basically what it meant, we proposed a bill where you would work with wildlife and fisheries for that every tree that a corporate business cuts down, they would have to replace in a wildlife and fishery designated zone. And this was kind of like, you didn't want the like perfect bill, you only had a day or two to make it, so we just kind of did the best we could with the bill. But all we had to do was just become the most well-known on it so that we get up to Congress. And I was the committee chair, so I had to present the bill. So I was quite nervous. But I got up there a day later, we had like a docket, and there was 8 committees, and I was the last. And I never done like congressional mock debate before, so I was once again a little unknowing, but just ready to just show what I know. And so I watched the first 7 committees. I actually got up and did some like pro-con debate. I kind of got there and raised some questions about some of like the bills. I kind of debated against some of the bills, debated for some of the bills. And then finally it was my turn to present mine. So I read the bill, I explained it, and then I answered the questions. And then I just had to sit back and like watch the others like pro and con debate my bill. which was a very like nervous experience. But once again, I just kind of trusted the process. And there were like a lot of people that gave some really good points towards it. I think our bill was pretty well rounded and like the time that we had. So a lot of the bills, like they immediately had some people that came up there and like demolished it. Like this won't work, this isn't practical. But people were really like getting along with our idea. They really liked it. So we had a very high approval rating. And at the end of the session, we had the highest passage rate out of any of the bills. It almost passed unanimously in both houses because then I sent it to the Senate and we didn't get to go in there and like say anything about it. They read the bill and then people got to pro and con debate it. So it was kind of out of our hands at that point, but I knew the work that we did with the committee would help the bill work. And then finally, once I had that and it was passed by Congress, I was able to go to the like mock governor's desk on the last day, and like they had your full like attorney general, treasurer, the vice, like the lieutenant governor and the governor, and they just kind of read your bill and they really liked it and they signed it. So that was a really exciting part for me. Aside from that, past like the legislative session, you had your elections. So I ended up running for Secretary of State. I was close to getting the party nomination, which I didn't end up getting, but it was a really fun experience because I got to go in front of about 400 girls and give my speech and show my authentic self. And even though I didn't win, I was kind of glad because like sometimes I learn more from not getting it than from getting the position. And as soon as I gave my speech and I found out that I did not get Secretary of State, I got a notification, I got an email, and basically I was chosen as a finalist for Girls Nation. And if you understand what Girls State is, each state has one, all 50 states. So therefore, after Girls State, they send 2 girls from every state to Washington, D.C. for a week for Girls Nation. So throughout each Girls State, they spend a week analyzing. I proposed a piece of federal legislation, and so I was chosen as a finalist out of the 400. So there were 7 of us that went to interviews, and so right after my speech, I got that notification. I was in committee, I got pulled out, I was sat in a conference room. I got asked some really fun questions such as, what has Girls State taught you? What do you believe is an important issue in our federal government right now? And kind of explaining the piece of legislation that I proposed, which was obviously coastal sciences. It was something I was interested in, so it was easy to explain. So then the week progressed, and they continued to kind of speak with me and just kind of speak to my character and see how I did at Girls State. And then finally, when the week ended, I was able to, we had our state elections, and we sat down, and we found out who our state board was. And I was not on that, which was fine. And then they said, so you have your state board, now what about representing on the national level? And there's a video, it's really cool, like, it was all of us on a live, she was on Facebook, and they called me and one other girl up, and I was like bawling, crying, I was so excited. It was an amazing experience, and I was just like, I didn't believe it. I didn't think that I'd get it because I didn't know anything about Girls State or Girls Nation, when a lot of people did. Like, this was their thing, their school was competitive who they chose, and they would send tens of people, like, from each school, they would be dead set on it. The girl that went with me, like, she was talking about her legislation with past senators of the Girls Nation for weeks. And I made the bill the week before and just kind of went in there and just figured if I get it, it'll be on my merit. So then I get it, and Girls State ends. It was an amazing experience. I met a lot of cool friends. I had some fun cliques, and we had a great time because there's Girls State, the professional part, which I learned a lot about, but then there's also like the part where you kind of have a little bit of fun, and we did that, obviously. So then I had about 3 weeks to prepare for Girls Nation, and that was very similar to what you were doing, but you took it on a federal level. So you then began to represent a federal government. So I got on a full week-long trip paid to DC. They flew me out. They provided transportation. We stayed at the William F. Bolger Center, which was a beautiful conference center in the Potomac of Maryland. So we were in a beautiful center. And this was similar. We did elections, but we had a mock Congress, and this was your senators. So each state had their senators. I provided my state legislation, and there was 50 bills, and you only got to like 15, 20 throughout the week. So they ranked them based on how much they wanted to see them on that docket, and ours was second. So we had a pretty good bill. It was really exciting. We got to present it, and then we did the other pro-con debate on other bills. I learned a lot about congressional debate, which I'm definitely interested in doing this year with speech and debate and furthering that. But The most important part to Girls Nation for me was that we got to surround ourselves with members of the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary, and we truly just got to foster an appreciation for our veterans. Every morning we did a flag posting and we got to read an excerpt from that, and it was always a beautiful excerpt. We learned about a veteran. It was usually somebody who we lost at war, prisoner of war, and it was always deeply emotional for me. My grandfather served in Vietnam. It was a very close connection. So that was an amazing part of the week. So you had that where you're fostering that appreciation. We went to the National Mall. I got to see the Vietnam Memorial. I saw the World War II Memorial. It was extremely special. We got to take pictures of the Lincoln Monument, all of us, and we were walking around. I played some volleyball at the National Mall on the Ronald Reagan Court. That was really fun. And so you were doing these excursions. We went to Twilight Tattoo, it was on Fort Myer, I believe, in Washington, D.C., and it was this beautiful, extravagant military mock performance where they had every single military uniform from the Revolutionary War all the way to now, and they did a beautiful thing. And then after, you could go and take pictures, you'd put the gear on and take the pictures. I had the cool helmets on. I have some really cool pictures. And then another excursion we did was we went to the White House. We toured the East Wing. That was extremely beautiful. But the most meaningful day to me was when we went to Capitol Hill. And we had meetings with our congressional Louisiana congressmen. And so I had a meeting with the offices of John Kennedy, Bill Cassidy, Mike Johnson, and then I had one with Scalise. We didn't make it because of time, and I think he was in a meeting as well. So they were last minute, we might have to scratch this one off, but that's all right. So we got to meet with the 3 offices of those congressmen. We had very beautiful discussions. We got to ask them direct questions, which is something you usually don't get to do. Usually you have to write them or call them and call their secretaries, and it takes weeks. But we were in their offices asking them hard-hitting questions, the most politically divisive topics you could imagine. My friends were sitting at the desk with their senior advisors asking them what they're going to do about it. The Speaker of the House were asking him questions about this. And it was an amazing experience. I went with one other girl from Louisiana to represent Girls State and Girls Nation, and then there were also 2 boys from Boys State at Boys Nation. So we got to have that collaboration throughout the week. We met a few senators. We passed Ted Cruz. We took a picture with Bernie Sanders, which was a wild experience. So who else? We met Senator Murkowski. We sat in a committee meeting. It was just an amazing experience. And we got to take pictures at all their offices. So then besides the Congress we were doing, and then that as well, it was just an amazing experience because while Louisiana Girls State was people from around the state, the nation one I was the people from Alaska, Hawaii, DC, and it was just an amazing experience. So I just wanted to thank you all. I want to thank y'all for sponsoring me. It was truly an invaluable experience. Next summer I will be going back to counselor, and then there's also an opportunity in 2 years to go back to DC to counselor for Girls Nation. And I'm also interested in becoming a member of the auxiliary. So I'll be doing so soon. So thank y'all.
Go ahead and step back a little bit.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes. All those buttons and I guess awards. Tell us a little bit about
Yes. So I go to Mount Carmel Academy, and I'm an officer on our ambassador team. So this elective process chooses about 100 girls out of 1,200, and we represent the school. So I get a blazer for special events for alumni, but this side I have my Mount Carmel pin, so I have my academic achievement. But then this side is actually all American Legion and American Legion Auxiliary pins. I have my Girls State completion pin on this side, but I have my Nation completion pin on this side, and then I have pins from Capitol Hill when I attended. I went and bought these when I went to DC. I went to Capitol Hill, the White House, Supreme Court, and then the rest of them are the state completion pins for the other girl states. So we got to trade. So it's kind of it's a great reminder of the people I met when in DC.
Thank you so much. Well, I can't tell you how proud we are. You kicked it up several notches. Let me just say this. Anytime we back participants going to Boys and Girls State, we have that level of optimism that the participant that we select or is selected for us to represent. Tricia, Tricia was in Girls State also.
Hi, everybody.
And she benefited from that experience immensely as well.
Absolutely. I speak very highly of my Girl State.
You want to just mention no? It's not to say that we all have a small frame of time for this, so we're going to transition to our next. Thank you so much, Tricia. We love you. And at the age of 76, almost 76, I'm forgetting names very quickly, so pardon me. And you can stand right here. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alexis Gray, and I'm a senior at Mount Carmel. I thank you for sending me to Girls State. It was an amazing opportunity. I absolutely loved it. I always knew from a young age that I really wanted to attend Girls State. My mom attended Girls State, and she talked about her experiences and how much fun she had, and I was really inspired by her, so I knew going to high school that I really wanted to attend. I also really want to learn more about government because I want to go into scientific research. Actually, the past 2 summers, I've worked in a lab where I've researched cancer, and I present a scientific poster on it. And I want to learn more about how the government works and what kind of resources and funding that goes into scientific research. I was a part of Atchafalaya, was my parish, and my city was Caddo. And I had a lot of fun with my parish. I met all sorts of girls from across Louisiana, and I still talk with them sometimes. And I really loved getting to know these people and seeing their speeches and what inspired them. I was a part of the Senate, and I was part of the Economics and Workplace Committee. And our bill was about actually it was called the On Wednesdays We Wear Pink Act, referencing Mean Girls, which was every day of the week, offshore workers had to wear a different color to go to work. And because when you have offshore workers, they could easily get, it was harder to find them where they worked offshore, or if they fell into the water, we wanted to have a different color so you could identify when it happened, what day it happened, and limit and make their safety better. So I really loved debating in the Senate. It was probably one of my favorite activities. It was so much fun. The Senate was so interesting, and a lot of the points people brought up were things that I never really thought about. So that was a really big learning opportunity for me. I was also a public defender in my city, and so I learned a lot about the judicial system, and we ran mock trials and court cases, and we learned a lot about how that worked and how people could get convicted or not. And that was something that really interests me. I always loved debating, so that's why I really wanted to be a public defender in Girls State. So I just really loved the opportunity. I feel like I learned so much about what that would tie into my life. Oh, I also, right now, so the past year I took Advanced Placement American History, and I'm currently taking Advanced Placement American Government and Politics. And Girls State really has inspired me also in my schoolwork, and because right now we're going over the Constitution and the articles, and we're reading a book about how the Constitution was created, and I can apply a lot of the knowledge I learned at Girls State in my class, and I feel like it really heightens my experiences in my life, and I really enjoyed the opportunity, and I would definitely recommend anyone else to join and go to Girls State. So thank you.
I'm going to take a picture of you first.
He was right. You guys should do it.
And relax.
Now, fire starts.
Thank you, sir. Stay with me. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Okay, good. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Julian Zachary, and I'm representing Holy Cross School. I was selected for Boys State by Holy Cross over the summer, and then I was sponsored by, sorry, right here. I had an absolutely incredible experience at Boys State. I've always had an interest in government, specifically the U.S. government, and I really wanted to learn more about it. And this camp was a perfect opportunity to learn more and understand all the nuances of government. So when I got there, it was somewhat chaotic to me. I didn't really know what was happening. I didn't really understand what we were doing, but we jumped straight into it. Elections for the mayoral position happened near like the first day or the second day. And that's where I really found that I could shine in debate. So when I started debates, I really noticed that I had the skills outcompeted my components, and I was really influencing like my audience. And then I was selected for the mayor position of my city inside of my parish, which was Kane Parish. And I had an absolutely incredible experience. I worked with nearly everybody in my city every single day. We were writing new laws and legislature to put into practice. We were participating in town hall meetings with other cities and other mayors, and fighting for our budget. And it was just an absolutely incredible experience. I did not think that that's what it would be like, that that's what it looked like to actually create that type of legislature. And it was really beautiful to see it all in play, and every process, every single job that it required to do these things. And I think one of my biggest takeaways from the camp is that we kind of learned about leadership styles. And there was 3 main leadership styles that we talked about. And one of them is, leadership through power and position. So if you're like the CEO of a company, you have a position of power there. Another type is leading through your experience and your knowledge of a certain subject, that you might know more than the next person beside you. And then the final one was leading through like personal interactions and getting to know people and actually like connecting with those people on a personal level. And I found that's really where my skills showed. And I really connected with almost every single person I met, other mayors, governors of the area. And even though I was just a small city mayor, I still actually had some influence in like legislature that was being passed and like the opinions of governors and stuff. And I made very good friends with a lot of them, and I still am friends with them now. I talk to a few of them pretty often. But yeah, Boys State it was a very, very nice experience. And one of the biggest reasons I did it is because I'm planning on going to the Navy. I want to commission as an officer through the NRTC program at Auburn University for aerospace engineering. And American Legion, which is partnered up with the United States Navy, it absolutely had a huge role in getting these interviews and all that to go through. And the people I've met that have been in the Navy and are currently actually in NRTC process in college, I'm still in communication with them, talking to them very consistently, and it's just been an incredible experience. I've gotten a lot of advice from them, and it's really been awesome. So I just want to thank you guys for sponsoring me and bringing me out here to this nice place to eat all this very nice food. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do. So you want to go to Annapolis?
No, ma'am, I'm not going to the Naval Academy. I'm planning on going to Auburn University in Alabama through the NRTC program.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And then I'll once I finish the 4 years and get my 4-year degree, then I will commission as an officer and go to flight school.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Have you had a bite to eat? You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hi, y'all. My name is Jude Foss, and I was sponsored to go to Louisiana Boys State, and my experience was amazing. I enjoyed it. At first, I didn't really know what to do because I was like kind of lost. I wasn't really like big into government before, but first of all, I started I was going into city elections, and I was elected to go to city council to learn about the bills that were being passed in the city. So personally, that was one of my favorite parts. My favorite part about Boys State was the legislative class. I didn't really like it in the beginning, the second day we went to it, but as we went to the third and fourth day, we started to write our bills, and that was probably my favorite part. Like, I remember one night I stayed up to like 1 or 2 in the morning writing this bill about low-income family and their tax brackets. So that was really exciting. The food was actually not bad. People from the past said it wasn't very good, but we went to this new university, Southeastern, and it was actually not bad. So I was very pleasantly surprised about that. I was in Mississippi Parish, and the city was Lafourche. So we were competing for the Boys State flag, and we won it like the second to last day. Thank God, because I thought we weren't gonna win it at first, but we won it the second to last day. So I was very excited about that. So that was exciting. Yeah, thank you for the experience. I really enjoyed it. Like, it taught me a lot of leadership, and I'm thinking about joining either the Air Force Academy or the Merchant Marines Academy in New York. So it taught me leadership about that and really what it's going to be about. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. Any questions?
Jude, are you still looking for a military scholarship to college?
Yes, sir.
At what service?
Either the Merchant Marines
No, answer.
Merchant Marines.
Okay, that's a good one.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you tell me what young man became president of the United States?
Like the first president?
They went to Boys
State? Sorry, sir, I could not tell you that.
Bill Clinton.
Really? I didn't know that. Thank you so much.
Well, enjoy your meal.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say these 4 young people have certainly made this post proud. And thank you for your enthusiasm, your thirst for wanting to make this country better. The future looks very bright as far as I'm concerned, and God bless you all.